May 17, 1987, Persian Gulf, 140 miles northeast of Bahrain, 2109 hours local time. USS Stark, an Oliver Hazard Perry-class frigate, is conducting routine patrol in international waters. The ship is part of Middle East Force, protecting neutral shipping during the Iran-Iraq War. Mission: presence operations. Show the flag. Ensure freedom of navigation. Escort reflagged Kuwaiti tankers if necessary. The night is clear. Visibility, good. Sea state, calm. The frigate operates in Condition 3, a modified alert status. Some weapon systems are manned, others are in standby mode. The crew expects no hostile action. This is a war zone, but American vessels have not been targeted. Both Iran and Iraq recognize that attacking a U.S. Navy ship would trigger overwhelming retaliation. That assumption is about to be tested. At 2150 hours, the Stark's SPS-49 air search radar detects an aircraft contact, bearing west. Range, 70 nautical miles. Altitude, low. The contact is tracked automatically. Air traffic in the Persian Gulf is constant. Iraqi Mirage F1 fighters patrol regularly. Iranian F-14 Tomcats operate from bases along the coast. Commercial flights cross the region. Identifying friend from foe requires constant vigilance. The contact is classified as an Iraqi Air Force Mirage F1. The aircraft is tracking east, parallel to the Stark's course. Range decreases slowly, 60 miles, 50 miles. The frigate's tactical action officer monitors the situation. Iraqi aircraft have operated near U.S. ships before without incident. Iraq is not hostile to American forces. In fact, the United States tacitly supports Iraq in its war against Iran. At 21:05 hours, the aircraft turns toward USS Stark. Range 40 miles. Speed 550 knots. The tactical action officer notes the course change, but does not classify it as hostile. Iraqi pilots sometimes approach U.S. ships for visual identification before returning to patrol routes. The rules of engagement are clear but complex. U.S. forces can defend themselves if attacked or if attack is imminent, but firing first at a potentially friendly aircraft without clear hostile intent violates international law and could trigger a diplomatic incident. The tactical team must determine hostile intent before authorizing weapons release. The Mirage continues inbound. Range 30 miles. The Stark's electronic warfare systems detect the aircraft's radar emissions. The pilot is using a search radar, not unusual for navigation or identification purposes. Still not definitively hostile. At 2109 hours, the electronic warfare operator detects a new signal. The Mirage has switched to targeting radar. This is the final step before weapons release. The aircraft has locked onto USS Stark. The tactical action officer has seconds to make a decision. The frigate's primary air defense weapon is the Mark 13 missile launcher, loaded with SM-1 standard missiles. Effective range, 25 nautical miles. But the launcher is in standby mode. Activation requires several steps: target designation, fire control radar lock, missile preparation, launch authorization from the commanding officer. Before any defensive action can be taken, the Mirage launches. 2 Exocet anti-ship missiles separate from the aircraft's wing pylons. Solid rocket motors ignite. The missiles accelerate toward the frigate at 680 miles per hour. Flight time from launch to impact, approximately 90 seconds. The electronic warfare operator calls out the launch. Missile inbound. Bearing 270. The Combat Information Center erupts in activity, but there's no time for coordinated response. The missiles are already in flight. USS Stark has a Phalanx close-in weapon system mounted on the starboard side. 6 rotating barrels capable of firing 4,500 rounds per minute, designed specifically to destroy incoming anti-ship missiles in the final seconds before impact. The Phalanx uses its own radar to track threats and automatically engages without human authorization. But the Phalanx is in standby mode. The system is designed to be activated during heightened threat conditions. In standby, it cannot engage. Switching to automatic mode requires manual intervention. The operator reaches for the controls. Too late. The first Exocet missile impacts the port side at 2110 hours. The warhead does not detonate. but the missile is traveling at 680 miles per hour. Kinetic energy alone punches through the frigate's aluminum superstructure. The missile penetrates deep into the ship. Unburned rocket fuel ignites. Fire erupts in crew berthing areas and the Combat Information Center. 10 seconds later, the second Exocet hits. This warhead does detonate. The explosion tears through multiple compartments, berthing spaces, passageways, the ship's post office. More fires ignite. The frigate's aluminum structure, chosen for weight savings, burns intensely. Temperatures exceed 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. 37 sailors are killed, most within the first minute. 21 die from the direct missile impacts. 16 die from fire and smoke inhalation in the minutes that follow. Dozens more are injured. The damage is catastrophic. The commanding officer, Captain Glenn Brindle, was in his cabin when the missiles hit. He reaches the bridge immediately. The ship is on fire. Electrical power is failing. Communications are down, but the frigate is still afloat, still maneuverable. The engines still function. Damage control teams respond automatically. This is what they train for. Combat systems may have failed, air defense may have failed, but damage control doctrine remains intact. Stop the flooding, fight the fires, save the ship. The fires are the immediate threat. Aluminum burns, fuel burns, electrical insulation burns. The ship fills with toxic smoke. Sailors don breathing apparatus and fight the fires with hoses, chemical foam, and sheer determination. The temperature makes compartments uninhabitable. Men work in 2-minute rotations before heat exhaustion forces them back. For hours, the crew fights. No external assistance is immediately available. The nearest U.S. Navy vessels are hours away. Bahraini Coast Guard boats arrive but lack firefighting capability. The Stark's crew is alone. By 0200 hours, the fires are under control. Not extinguished, but contained. The ship is saved. At dawn, USS Kuntz and other U.S. Navy vessels arrive to provide assistance. Firefighting teams come aboard. Medical personnel evacuate the most seriously wounded. Damage assessment begins. The investigation that follows reveals multiple failures. The electronic warfare systems detected the Iraqi aircraft. They detected the targeting radar. They detected the missile launch. But information did not translate to defensive action fast enough. The failing system was in standby when it should have been active. The standard missiles were not ready for immediate launch. The rules of engagement created hesitation when decisiveness was required. Iraq immediately claims the attack was a mistake. The pilot thought he was engaging an Iranian vessel. Iraqi President Saddam Hussein issues an apology and offers compensation. The United States accepts the explanation, though skepticism remains. Some analysts believe the attack was deliberate, designed to test American resolve. Others believe it was genuinely a targeting error in the chaos of the Iran-Iraq war. The political response is muted. The United States does not retaliate militarily. Iraq pays $27.3 million in compensation. Diplomatic relations continue. The incident is treated as a tragic accident, not an act of war. But the operational response is comprehensive. The Navy immediately revises rules of engagement for ships in the Persian Gulf. Commanding officers receive expanded authority to engage potentially hostile aircraft without waiting for clear hostile acts. Weapon systems are to be maintained in ready status during operations in threat areas. The failing system must be in automatic mode when aircraft contacts are detected. Frigate design is also questioned. The Oliver Hazard Perry class uses aluminum superstructure to reduce weight, but aluminum burns intensely when ignited. Fires spread faster, temperatures climb higher. Damage control becomes more difficult. Future ship designs return to all-steel construction. The Exocet missile's effectiveness is noted. This is the same weapon that sank HMS Sheffield during the Falklands War, the same weapon that threatens every surface ship without adequate air defense. Navies worldwide accelerate development of improved close-in weapon systems and missile countermeasures. USS Stark returns to the United States for repairs. The damage is extensive but not beyond recovery. The ship is reconstructed over 15 months at a cost exceeding $142 million. It returns to service in 1988 and operates until decommissioning in 1999. Captain Brindle faces a court of inquiry. Questions focus on why the ship's defenses were not ready, why the phalanx was in standby, why standard missiles were not prepared for launch. The inquiry finds that Brindle made decisions consistent with the rules of engagement and operational procedures in effect at the time, but he receives a non-punitive letter of caution. His career effectively ends. The tactical action officer and several other crew members also face administrative action. The Navy needs accountability, but the fundamental problem wasn't individual failure. It was systemic. The rules of engagement were inadequate. The threat assessment was wrong. The assumption that Iraqi aircraft wouldn't attack American ships proved false. 37 sailors paid for that assumption with their lives. The incident reshapes naval doctrine in threat environments. Ships now operate with weapon systems ready for immediate engagement. Electronic warfare is prioritized. Air defense posture is aggressive rather than reactive. The assumption of safety in non-combat zones is abandoned. For the families of the 37 sailors killed aboard USS Stark, the explanations and policy changes offer little comfort. Their loved ones died not in combat against a declared enemy, but in a mistaken attack by an aircraft from a country the United States was tacitly supporting. The memorial at Naval Station Mayport honors their service. The ship's bell from USS Stark is displayed. Every year on May 17th, their names are read. The youngest was 19 years old. The oldest was 38. And somewhere in the Persian Gulf, right now, an American destroyer is on patrol. Weapon systems are active. Phalanx is in automatic mode. Standard missiles are ready for immediate launch. Air contacts are tracked aggressively. The crew knows the story of USS Stark. They know that friendly aircraft can become hostile with no warning. They know that hesitation costs lives. They know that the next radar contact could be carrying Exocet missiles. The rules of engagement now reflect that reality, and 37 names carved in stone ensure the lesson is never forgotten.